Hello and welcome to College Algebra. My name is Professor Lewis and I'm going to go over some highlights from our syllabus. So I'm not going in this recording. So I'm not going to go over every detail from the syllabus, so please take a few moments to review the whole syllabus and make sure you're familiar with the whole thing. But I want to go over some highlights of some things that I felt were important to speak out loud. So first of all, introducing myself, my name is Karen Lewis, and to contact me, I would prefer you use the Canvas inbox. I do have email, of course, and you can always email the Canyon's email address. That email box tends to get really full with a lot of different college general mail. So if you use the Canvas inbox, then I'm pretty good about keeping that just for my students. So I'm really quick about responding to those. So Canvas inbox is a great way to get a hold of me. If you can't get to the inbox, then the email address is fine too. The other way to contact me is meeting through the Zoom link. These I will be available for office hours. And also we'll have a live class, but the attendance to either of those is 100% optional. So you don't ever have to use that Zoom link if you're not comfortable with that, or if that's not a good learning module method for you. But it is available. So to message me, you can see in the bottom left here I have the inbox. It's in your when you're logged into your Canvas course. In the left navigation menu, you can see the inbox circled in red, and that is how you can send me a message in Canvas. And to get to my Zoom room, which you can do during our live class or office hours, or if we have an appointment, then you just go to Modules from our Canvas class, and then that first top module is called Course Information and Toolbox, and we'll have the Zoom link right there. Incidentally, we also have the syllabus right here, which I should have mentioned earlier. So you can follow along with me if you want to open up that syllabus from go to your course and then modules and then course information and toolbox and that syllabus. So you can actually open that right now, and that way you can follow along with me as I'm going through these slides, and you can see some more details. All right, so I'm going to give you a second to open that syllabus so you have that next to you or printed or whatever you want. Go ahead and pause this video, and then once you have that syllabus ready, then resume. All right, so our textbook for this course is going to be College Algebra by Cynthia Young. We're going to be using the version that has the Wiley Plus access. Some of our quizzes will be in the Wiley, which is it's in Canvas, but Wiley is just a program within Canvas where you can actually take the quizzes in there. So you'll need internet access. So one way to do this is by purchasing the book through Canvas. So if you go to the eText or any of the links in Canvas that go to the textbook, it'll actually give you an opportunity to buy the book that way. And on the last page of our syllabus, there's a promo code, so you can get the textbook for $50 with that promo code. And see that last page for directions on how to do that. You do get a 2-week grace period. So that's a great thing. So if you're not quite sure, or if you just need some time to get that money, then you can get the book, and then you have 2 weeks to decide if this modality is going to work for you or not. And after that 2-week period, then you can decide if you're going to buy it or not stay with the class. Okay, and then the tools you'll want a scientific calculator or an equivalent app. On your homework, it'd be great to have a calculator, and you're welcome to use your phone or any app like that. On test, you'll also need a calculator. You won't be able to use your phone or a computer on tests, but you'll be taking your test in Proctorio, which does have an embedded calculator in it. So you'll need a scientific calculator, or you'll definitely want one at least. A computer with a camera for a microphone and a Chrome browser for those tests in Proctorio, and a small whiteboard and marker. If you plan to attend the Zoom meetings, you only need that small whiteboard and marker if you're planning on attending those live sessions. Okay, so that's the supplies you'll need. Moving on to attendance. So we're not actually seeing each other in the classroom since we're doing this all online. So your attendance will be logged based on you submitting those classwork quizzes. So that's how I'll keep track of if you've kind of disappeared and just forgot to drop, or if you're still around. So every time you submit one of those classwork quizzes, it counts as your attendance. That shows me that you're still active in the class. So the classwork quizzes are after each section. So some days actually you have 2 classwork quizzes, or even 3 if we have more than one section covered that day. And submitting those counts as your attendance. So if you miss 3 days worth of classwork quizzes, that shows me that you've kind of disappeared, and I'll contact you and say, you still around, or what's happening. And if I don't hear back from you, then I might do an instructor withdrawal just to make sure that you don't end up with an F when you just forgot to drop. But that said, it's still your responsibility to drop, so I want to make sure that, I wrote as listed below, but I forgot to write the dates. They are in your syllabus, though. On the page about attendance, it does have the dates listed there. Make sure to please calendar those dates. So if you do want to withdraw or drop, you make sure you do that before the deadline so you don't get stuck with an F for a class that you're not really taking. All right, so that's your attendance. So to get that first days of attendance, so you don't get a no-show drop on the first day of class, if I don't have you show up to class by taking your classwork quiz, then you'll get automatically dropped. So that first day of attendance is found by completing the intro quiz, which is on the first day. So when you're in that module, when you're in your modules after the course info and course tools, the next module is something like do these the first day, or something like that. First day work or something like that. I'll go over that in a little bit. All right, moving on to grades. So to calculate your grades, I use it out of 1,000 points. I like the 1,000-point system because then you know exactly how much every point is worth. Since it's 1,000 points, every single point is worth 1/10 of a percentage point. So if you get a 0 on a 10-point quiz, for example, 10 points would be 1%. So how does that affect your final grade at the end of the semester? Is that your grade will be 1% lower. So if you miss 100 points, that's a full letter grade. Actually, it's not quite a letter grade, because you might scan down here to the bottom of the page. You'll see the letter grades are a little different. Not quite the 100%, the 10% scale. So I have a B going from 78 all the way down to 78%, and a C starts at 65%, D starts at 50%. So a little generous grading scale. I am very careful about the exact pointage because I want to take out my own bias. So I don't give any credit for, like, if you get 898, but I think you tried really hard, then I don't bump you up to an A. If you want to get that A, then you have to get that 900 points. So that's on you. And you'll always know I'm very good about communicating the grades. You'll have exactly the number of points you need. You can always reach out to me and say, hey, I'm just 2 points short. Can you help me find those 2 points? And I'll be happy to help you. But I won't just bump it up. So don't assume if you get 899 that I'll bump up your grade, because I don't round. I'm trying to be very transparent about what your grade is. All right, so back to the ratios. 75 points at classwork, that means 7.5% of your final grade. 125 points for homework quizzes, so that means 12.5% of your grade. Each unit test is 120 points, so that each of those are 12% of your grade, for a total of 60% of your grade for all 5 tests. And then a 200 point, or 20% of your grade final exam. So, first thing I mentioned there was the exam. Actually, it's not the first thing I mentioned, but one of those 4 things. We got classwork, homework, tests, and exams. So let's go over, as I should say, tests really. We have 5 unit tests, of which I wrote exams here, but 5 unit tests, 1 final exam, and ideally we'll take those in Proctorio. I know Proctorio is not perfect, so if you already have some experience with it and know it's not going to work out, or you have some concerns from just reading what is required to use Proctorio, let me know ahead of time and we'll make another plan. Usually 95% of the time it works out seamlessly, and you just follow the prompts and everything works out fine. Be prepared to have your camera on and your mic on. But if there is a problem, then we will work it out. So don't panic if the computer technology is not being your friend. We will work that out. That's why we have the class. Everyone takes a test from 3:15 to 5:40. So I'm available 3:15 to 5:40, kind of standing by while you guys are taking your test. And you can just send me a message, hey, this isn't working, or I'm having this problem, and then we'll work it out. So your test is about 90 minutes long. So you got a little bit of a window there from 3:15 to 5:40. So any 90-minute window within that, but you must be done by 5:40. There's no breaks. So make sure before you sit down to your test, you've gone to the bathroom, you've grabbed a snack, you're ready to sit there for 90 minutes. You can stand up and stretch, but you can't leave the camera view. So you may not use notes or books or a formula sheet or anything like that on your test. You can use a calculator, but that's embedded in Proctorio, so you don't need to bring your calculator to the test. Pencil only, and you can have some blank paper in front of you for scratch paper, blank or lined paper, but no information on that paper, of course. No test score is going to be dropped, so make sure that you're here for every test. But if you happen to miss one, sometimes things happen. If it's out of your control, what are you going to do? So what I do to address that is, if your final grade is higher than one of your test grades, percentage-wise, then I will replace that percent. So your final grade will count as your final exam grade will replace one of your unit exam grades if that helps your grade be higher. So if it's unforeseen circumstance happens and you have to miss an exam, then that final can replace it. If you know you're going to miss an exam because of some situation in your life and you know what's going to happen, then talk to me before the exam and I will give you the test early. I won't do any tests after the test has been given, but I can give it early. All right, moving on to classwork. That is our next section. So classwork means learning the lesson, reading through the book, working through the example problems, and that, depending on your best learning modality, you can watch recordings, which I'll post as we go. You can attend the live session in Zoom. Or if you're a reader, you want to just work through that textbook. The great thing about the online textbook is it has some interactive examples. So you can just kind of work through that textbook. Regardless of how you work through the classwork, you must be engaged, actively listen, think critically. When I say actively listen, that's going to be different depending on what modality you're using. If you're reading, that just means actively listening to your own mind. I know for me, sometimes, which is why I like the live sessions, but sometimes, like when I read, I forget to listen. I'm just like reading the words while I'm thinking about my to-do list. So if make sure you're actively engaged as you're reading, or make sure you're actively engaged in the Zoom sessions or the recordings, whatever modality you're using, be actively engaged and actively listening and thinking critically through those problems that you're working through. Think critically means if I make an error in a live session, you might catch that because you're like, wait a second, that doesn't make sense. Please speak up. That's the moment to speak up because you're thinking critically. You're working along with me on that problem, and so are however many other people with us. If you speak up and say, wait a second, why is that a 2 or something like that, or whatever might be not right, then I can catch that error early and then we can move on to the problem correctly. So critically thinking so that the person working on a problem is not the only person thinking. Everyone in the room should be thinking critically. All right. So your classwork grade will be based on the classwork quizzes. So following that lesson, after you do your reading or the watching or the attending, then you'll take a short quiz, and that will be your classwork grade. Completing the quiz at all, even if the 0, counts as your attendance, and then whatever points you get on it, however many, it counts towards your grade, towards that, I think it was 75% of your grade, or 7.5. sorry, 7.5%, right? Pretty sure, 75 points. All right, moving on to homework. Homework is a long little section because I feel really, really strongly about how homework is completed. This is a very important task that can feel like busy work if you don't take advantage of its usefulness. So I recommend you buy a spiral notebook or some way to bind all your homework together. You're not going to be submitting it to me. Because we're not in person, like physically, you're not going to submit it to me. You are going to submit it online. So you'll scan it and then upload it, which I'll teach you how to do in a little bit. Scan it as a PDF, upload it to Canvas in the assignments, and I will grade it that way so you can still keep the hard copy for yourself. So homework must be done in pencil. It's so important to do math in pencil because when you're working on a problem and you make a little error, write a 4 instead of a 5 or a minus instead of a plus, then you need to be able to flip that pencil, do a quick erase, and then keep going without breaking your train of thought. Pens cause a break in thought. You got to, especially even erasable pens because they don't erase that well. So all homework is completed in pencil. Include the section number on the top of the page so I can scan, as I'm going through your homework, I can see where each section starts, and I'm not looking at the problem trying to figure out where this problem was. So please title the top of each page of your homework so I know what this page is. Show the original question, an easy to follow work, and an easy to find solution. That doesn't mean you need to copy every word, for example, of a word problem, but I want to be able to look at your work and know where these numbers came from. So it should be somewhat of a complete work when I look at your work. Put a box or a circle around that final answer so it's easy for me to see. And then when you're done doing the homework in pencil, even if it's only one problem, you can actually do one problem at a time if you like, you will be self-grading it. So you'll, in your interactive textbook, you can actually just push show the answer and it shows you the answer. Or you can get those answers from the appendix, which I'll also show you later. So you'll check it. If it's correct, fantastic, put a C. If it's not correct, be careful that you're doing this part in a colored pen. So you do the work in a pencil, but then you pick up a colored pen, not a black pen, but a colored pen so you can see the difference, and self-grade it. So if it's correct, great, put a C. If it's not correct, put an X. If you put an X, then do it correctly and do it in pen this time. So when you're going back to study and when I review your work, you can see, okay, this time I didn't get that one the first time I tried, so I better make sure I get it now. So that homework process is very important to me. So I will, if you don't have all those parts, all 6 of those parts, and I will return it to you and ask you to do it again. And then you will not be able to take that homework quiz, which is how you get the points for the homework, until your homework is complete and correct. So after you submit the self-corrected homework to Canvas, complete and correct, there should be no gaps in the homework, no skipped problems, which I'll tell you why later because I'll be able to answer any homework questions. Once that's complete, then you can go on and take the homework quiz, which will be accepted only if you've already submitted the completed homework for that section, including all the corrections as described right here in those 6 steps. So those homework points are received by taking the quiz, which is a total of 125 points or 12.5% of your grade. If you're doing your homework and you have questions, then you can send me a message and say, hey, I don't understand how to do this one. Can you help me? And I can make a recording, or if it's a quick question, I might just reply and tell you an answer. But if I want to show you how to do something, then I'll make a recording and I'll put that into our webpage. So that's kind of like when you get to class and we go over those questions from homework, it will be in recording. So get those recordings. So do your homework early so you're able to get those recordings, fill in the gaps before you turn it in, because again, your homework must be complete and completely self-graded before getting those homework points. All right, so a typical day looks like you do your classwork. You may be reading the book or attending Zoom or watching recordings. And then you take your classwork quiz. These will be real short, computer graded in Canvas. And then after you take your quiz, you go on to do your homework assignment, which I'll show you. It's a little later in the syllabus. You can see which homework problems to do from each section. Handwritten in pencil, self-corrected in pen, as we described on the previous slide. And then once you get that complete and submitted, ask questions as needed, and to fill in all those gaps. Once your homework is complete and submitted, then you'll take your homework quiz to get your points. And you'll do this for each section. So if one day we have 2 sections covered, you're going to take classwork quiz, homework quiz, and then go to the next section and do classwork quiz, homework quiz. So for each section, we'll do those 4 steps. All right, so how do you get help? There's a couple different ways you can get help. Let's go through these. So first of all, we have some non-credit math support classes. Those you can sign up for independently. They're online. I'll go through that in a minute. The TLC, which is the Learning Center. So they have some online tutoring that's free. You can send me a message at any time. I can make recordings at any time. We can meet in private sessions or in small groups and Zoom. We'll also have that live Zoom class, which is, again, completely optional. And Campus Connect will help us identify any issues that need to be discussed. Okay, so let's go a little more in depth in those. So the first thing was the non-credit math support classes. So these classes, you can sign up anytime before November 2nd. They're completely free of tuition. The textbooks are free. There's no prereqs. These are pass-fail classes. And you can drop them at any time. They don't appear in your transcript, so they can't hurt you. They're 100% online and at your own pace. The instructor we have is very compassionate and great feedback, and you get 10 hours of instruction per course. So these are a great way to fill in those gaps. So we're here in this whole class, this Math 103 class. Everyone in here is also in the support class, which means there was some gap where you weren't quite ready for 103, so we gave you a support class to go with it. So to fill those gaps, we'll have the support class, of course, but also you're welcome to sign up for any of these non-credit classes to go through on your own, in your pace at your own, but you still have that instructor feedback. So that is one way to, and these start on August 31st, but you can enroll anytime before November 2nd. All right, so there's those support classes. The next thing we covered was the TLC, or the Learning Center. Tutors or instructors are there they're helping in tutoring in Zoom. It's completely free. They also have review jams before the test sometimes, which we'll have to check on the schedule when that comes out. They have their GLAs available online. So go on our course homepage. You can go to the Learning Center and get that tutoring schedule. It's open most of the day, and then after it's closed, we also have online tutoring through NetTutor. So if it's after hours, then go over here to online tutoring, and NetTutor will open up and you get some after hours tutoring. So you can get tutoring 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So, most daylight hours, you get the Learning Center, and then after hours, we have the online tutoring in NetTutor. So free tutoring, please take advantage of this. I know that when we were in person, it's very, very popular, and then we went online, a lot of people withdrew from the tutoring, but the tutoring is still very valuable and good in Zoom. So check it out, please, if you are feeling like you need some tutoring. Recordings, I mentioned earlier, if you have a hole in your homework and you need to know how to do a problem, then just send me a message in the Canvas inbox, and I will make a short recording of that problem. So I post these in the recording database under modules, under that first top module, Course Information and Toolbox. Right now, if you go to that, then you'll see an empty Excel sheet because I haven't made any recordings yet for this class. So I will fill those as questions are requested. And if you request a question, I won't say your name in the recording, but I'll post it on the database, because if you have that question, there's probably 6 other people that have that same question. So I will just build that database based on the questions I received and post them for the whole class. All right. We can also meet in Zoom. We can meet one-on-one. If you want to have some specific questions you want to meet with me, then just send me a message and we'll schedule something. Office hours, of course, also. We can also, if you have a study group who wants to ask me a couple questions, then we can schedule with a small group. And students can even make their own free Zoom accounts. So I think that the free accounts, you can get like a 45-minute meeting. I'm not positive about that. But students can sign up for a Zoom account and meet with your co-students, peers, to make your own study groups. So that is a great option. And then we'll have that Zoom live class. This is completely optional. This is during our scheduled class time every Monday and Wednesday, 3:15 to 5:40. So you'll use that same Canvas link under, let me go back to it, course information and toolbox, the Zoom classroom link. That's the second link there. So I'll be there every Monday and Wednesday for a whole class, and I'll have a lesson according to our schedule, which is a little further down in the syllabus. This is really designed only for those students who want to be in Zoom. They want that live interaction, and we don't have that in-person interaction option. So don't feel any pressure to attend it. If you feel like you're actually good with the recordings or the textbook, then you don't feel any pressure to come in here. I will not take attendance. It is strictly for those who want to be there and who will benefit from it. If you want to drop in, if you have to leave early or drop in late, that's okay too. It's completely optional. It's really just there to support those who want that modality. So I will record it though, so even if you don't attend live or if you're nervous about participating, then the recording will be posted in the Canvas after the event. So, but it is most effective when everybody who is present is active. So it's really hard to sit in Zoom and just lecture at a bunch of names and not really know if anyone's absorbing that information. I can't see your faces. I don't know if there's any understanding or what. So I do ask that if you come ready to participate. Come ready to turn your camera on and your mic on. Your camera, I would like your camera to be on the whole time. I mean, if you have to walk away or if you're not feeling well, turning it off is okay. But in general, while you are participating, turn your camera on so we know you're participating. And then it feels like we're actually in the same room. And you can see your other students who are also in the same room, and that is really helpful. So that body language, those facial expressions, that's really important to be in an actively engaged classroom. So be prepared to turn your mic on. I'll have you keep that off when someone else is speaking, so it'll usually be off. But when you speak, if you turn on your mic, it does make communication more effective. You're welcome to use the chat box as well, but be prepared to turn on the mic to make communication a little bit better. And bring a small whiteboard or dry erase marker and a dry erase marker, or a stack of white paper and a marker, or you can even stick a white piece of paper inside a page protector and use it like a whiteboard with a whiteboard marker. So that way everyone's got their cameras on and we can all interact, and I can say, hey, what do you guys think about this problem? And everyone, you can do your problem on your little whiteboard and hold it up to a camera, just so it's kind of like me walking around the room. So usually when we're in a classroom, while I'm lecturing, I might walk around the room and see it and kind of glance at everyone's paper and see what you guys are doing. And this gives me that opportunity. So please bring that whiteboard if you attend those live Zooms. So if you attend live Zoom, completely optional, but if you do, please turn on your cameras, have your mics ready, and bring a whiteboard with a dry erase marker. All right, and then page 7 of the syllabus has the schedule. So these are the lessons that I will cover in those Zoom sessions, and these are as the assignments are due. Homework is assigned every class and due before the next class. So you can see our first class here is Monday the 24th, section 1.1. That means that classwork should be done on Monday or Tuesday. Homework and classwork will both be due before class starts on Wednesday. So they'll both be due by 3:15 on Wednesday. And then 1.3 and 1.7 will both be due by 3:15 on the following Monday. So homework and classwork are assigned daily and then due the next day according to this schedule. And then page 8 of your syllabus has the homework problems. So this will show you from each section what homework problems to do. So we can see Monday night, whoops, that's too big. 1.1, we're doing 1 to 29. EOO means every other odd. And then 37 to 45 odds. So that will be due on Wednesday. So that's our homework. That's on page 8 of your syllabus. Page 9 of your syllabus has your track your own grade. This is, like I said, I have a 1,000-point system because I want you to always know what every point is, how that every point is affecting your grade. So your grade is never a mystery. So this sheet you can use for yourself, own records, just to kind of see where you stand and kind of guess your grade. If you get this point, just kind of keep track of where you're at. And of course, your grades are always posted in Canvas as well, but this summarizes it into a more simplified view. Like the classwork grade, all the classwork from Unit 1 will go into CW1. So on Canvas, it's separated, so there's a lot more columns in Canvas, but this gives you a better overview of your grades, so you can see why your grade is your grade and how to get that grade that you want. So how to get those 900 points to get that A. All right, and then the last page of your syllabus has the letter from the textbook company. So that has exactly how to get that book for that $50. It's online book with Wiley access, which means you'll be able to take the quizzes and see the book online. So the first thing you do when it says log in to your Wiley Plus Integrated LMS Blackboard Canvas course, that just means log into our course. So log into your Math 103 course and then click on any of those links that take us to those interactive activities like the e-text. I would say that's probably the best, easiest one to find. Click on e-text. I'm going to see if I can edit that. Hang on a second. Okay, so we're going to log into your course. In Canvas, and then click e-text. And then you'll be able to, you'll be prompted to buy the book. You don't have to pay for it for 2 weeks, so as I've been told. So there you go. Okay, and that wraps up the syllabus. You'll notice as you look through the actual syllabus, there's a few things I didn't quite touch here, which you can make sure to read there, like some more details about tests and the learning objectives. So make sure you review that whole syllabus, and then that wraps up our syllabus. So welcome, and I'll see you in the next recording.